Hello guys, for today's build we're actually going to put together a small deck in front of this door. The deck is going to be a 7x12 deck with a couple of stairs coming down, and these four specific 4x4s that you see here, we're going to build a little bench style deck right there attached to the deck. About 2 or 3 stairs possibly right there, and it's going to come out about 7.5 feet by 12 in length. A couple of rose bushes that are going to be coming up from the sides of the deck to give it a little more aesthetics. We're going to start the build. We're going to actually start framing right now. I'll put a little video together after the framing is done so that you guys can see. All of these posts that you see here are anywhere from 10 to 13 inches deep. We put quite a few, but only because the owner wanted them in the ground. They didn't want to put them like on a little platform, those cement platforms that they sell. So these are about 10 to 13 inches deep a piece. At the moment, this is how the frame looks. We ended up cutting a few of the 4x4s, as you can see, so that we can tie the frame. The 2x6, we're using 2x6 on the bottom. There's a little rose that's going to come above the deck. It's going to be kind of built into the deck. There's the other one. That's going to be a little bench right there. We're going to add some hangers right here and another joist. I'll be adding that shortly, and hopefully we can finish this today. Okay guys, for the hangers that we're installing on this deck, we'll be using some 2.5 inch for the long ones, and 1 5/8. This is a number 8, 1 5/8. These are deckmate screws. You don't want to use the other screws like sheetrock screws or anything like that, because they're not protected for the weather, so they'll probably rust out. These are what I'm using for the hanger here that goes into the 2x6. The long ones, I'm using 2.5. Good morning guys. Today is day 3 of our little deck build here. It should really only take 2 days, but yesterday when we started the framing, we started it around 4:30 in the afternoon, and being that it's in January, it got pretty late quick. So we stopped where we could. It was a little dark last night, and we decided to continue this morning. In reality, if you set the post one day, you should be able to frame and deck a small little deck like this in 2 days, maybe a day and a half, depending on on time and how hard the ground is for you to dig the holes. So this is where we're at right now. We finished most of the decking. This little section that you see here, we're gonna end up running a chalk line. We're gonna leave 1.5 inches out overhang, and then we'll run a chalk line all the way down, and we'll cut it with the saw. As you can see, the roses are right there. We're actually gonna put a couple of little blocks of this 1x6 deck material right here, just for aesthetic purposes. We're gonna do that there. There's a post for the stairs, you see, and here's the other rows. This is where we stopped. That's where the little bench is gonna be. It was kind of dark last night. We didn't want to continue cutting and being loud, so we stopped. Now here, just as an FYI to you guys, we ran the deck all the way here, and then we ran it out all the way out. The reason we did that right here, we put little blocks of 2x6. So there's a block going from about here all the way to about here, connected to this post, and that goes the same for that post and that post, and that's for this 1x6 to have something firm to rest upon. We're gonna block the back too, just for aesthetic purposes, and that won't even be seen because we're gonna have the stairs. As you can see, that little piece right there, we're gonna have one there, and one there. I just did the cutouts for the 4x4s, as you can see. Now, I believe I mentioned earlier that I was leaving a 1.5-inch overhang on the outside of the deck. I'm also leaving a 1.5-inch overhang right here. Typically, a 2x4 or 2x6. This is about 1.5 inch. So I use this as a guide. That's a 1.5-inch overhang. And this is actually a joist. It goes all the way across. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna also do the 1.5-inch back there, just for aesthetic purposes. Thought I'd mention that. And here we go. So we can tie in. The little blocks are already on there, so we can screw down on it. All right, so here's the deck after we ran the chalk line, and you saw my buddy there cutting it straight. So far we've already got the little pieces I said I was gonna put in earlier. Just thought I'd show you guys, and I'll show you in a little while how those 4x4s are gonna be covered to make a little. So here's the deck. Stairs are coming into place. Here is where we're gonna put the little bench. This 4x6, this was given to me by a buddy of mine. I didn't want to throw them away. I figured I'd find something to do with them. So I'm gonna put them actually right here. I'm gonna use them as support for the upper little bench right there. But what I wanted to show you was these things right here. So I actually, from this post to that post, it's roughly about 15.25 inches or 15.5, somewhere around there. And that would be on both sides. So I decided to cut these at approximately 4 inches from inner 45 to inner 45 is 4 inches, and 15.5 from inner 45 to inner 45, 15.5 inches, so that when I'm sorry, I got one of my buddies using an impact driver, so that when you actually assemble it, this is what we're looking at. We're looking at a little box. Now these basically are gonna go over the 4x4s. They're gonna be spaced out also we're gonna put 3 going up, and I hope you guys like it when it's done. There's going to be a little bench that goes on top. Right now we have the stairs that you saw earlier. They're coming into place right in front of the door right there. It should be done within the next hour. Here's the deck, guys. It's coming together. You can see that we've cut these little pieces of deck to cover the 4x4s. All we need is to screw them in. I'm using just the screws for spacing. It's basically for showing that I'm gonna put some spacing there between them. There's gonna be another 2 there. There's that 4x6 that my buddy gave me. I'm just using it as support, and we'll be done shortly. Just thought I'd give you an update on how the deck is coming about. We put that 1x6 deck material around the stair, the 2x12 stair piece that we bought from Home Depot. We decided to only use a 2 section of it so that we can use 2 stairs instead of the 3. And then once we put them there, we covered them with the deck material to make it look uniform. Those are the stairs, the roses. You got 1.5 spacing on each side. You got 1.5 spacing right here. There we go. So what we used, guys, to put one of these things together, as you can see, we did the 45s here, the 45s right there. But basically, to put it together so we can slip it over the 4x4s, we used a trim nailer and obviously an air compressor. But the trim nailer we used for, you know, just to basically hold it in place. After we hold it in place, we're gonna go over here. Just excuse all the mess we'll be cleaning up shortly. And this is what we do. We use the little screws for the spacing on these going up. These are gonna obviously come out. But when you put these on, because you actually leave about a 1/4 inch gap all the way around, this is just like a faux cover for your bench. Make it look nice. What you want to do, you don't want to start screwing, obviously you'll start with the bottom one. You don't want to start screwing them in all the way from the bottom on each side, because it's going to push the board or the little casing all the way to one side. What you want to do is you want to put them in about halfway, but you put pressure on these as you put the screws on so they don't move. Okay, and you do the same over here on this side. As you can see, the screws ain't all the way in. The reason you do that, let me see if I can show you. You see the spacing? You got the screws in. If you were to do that on one side, you're gonna end up having your bench looking like this, or like this, or some kind of odd angle. So what you want to do is you want to slowly start bringing them in, including in the front, you see, so that your bench looks pretty even. We'll be finishing this off in a little while. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. My boy here putting the spacing. Now we can actually remove all of these spacing screws. There we go. And that is how you cover the 4x4s and have them evenly spaced on the inside. You see? Now you have a perfect little bench top. We'll be doing the other one in a short while. We'll just make sure it's straight with this one, and we'll be putting the planks on top so that we can finish the deck. Here's the finished deck. It's not too big. It's a 12 by 7.5 feet. We did exactly what they asked us to do. Put a little bench over here. They wanted some roses coming out from the bottom. All in all, I think it was a good project. I think in materials, all in all, for like 12 by 7.5 feet like this, just like this exactly, you're looking at about 700, around 700 to 750, but that's using premium lumber, not the standard lumber that has knots and everything. This is premium lumber that we purchased. I think the standard lumber was like $7. This lumber was $9.78, I believe, an 8-foot plank, and that's really what we purchased. 8-foot planks came out to about, altogether with the 4x4s, screws, and the decking, we paid about $750 in premium materials. Just an FYI, if you want to build a little deck like this, that's what you're looking at in price cost. And that's if you're a do-it-yourself. If you're looking at how much someone will charge you to build something like this, you're looking possibly at about $1,500 just in labor. That's not including the material. That's just an FYI for those of you that are thinking of installing a deck, whether you want to pay someone to do it or you want to build it yourself. That's about roughly what you're looking at for a deck this size that looks similar to this. You know, people's choices are what they want, so that's a rough estimate. Hope you guys like the video. Give me a like, and I'll be putting up some other builds at a later time.